My fiancé said, "I want a polyamorous family. Open marriage. Multiple partners. The works." I remember the exact second it happened. She was standing in the doorway of our living room, one hand on her hip, the other clutching her phone like it held divine truth. The sunlight from the window hit her engagement ring, my grandmother's ring, and I swear for a moment it looked like it was mocking me. I'm Ethan, 32, and until that afternoon, I thought I was 6 months away from marrying Rachel, the woman I'd loved for 3 years. We'd already put deposits down for the venue, the photographer, even chosen a playlist for the first dance. Everything felt stable, solid, like the kind of love people build a lifetime on. So when she sat across from me, not beside me, but across, like we were in a negotiation, I knew something irreversible was coming. I've been doing a lot of reading, self-discovery, watching educational videos, she began. Her tone was rehearsed, almost clinical, and I've realized something about who I am. I'm polyamorous. Silence. Deafening silence. For a few seconds, I thought maybe she was joking. But the way she sat up straighter, eyes bright with conviction, told me she meant every word. You want to open the relationship? I asked finally. She smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that reaches the eyes, not just open. I want ethical, polyamory, multiple committed relationships that coexist. It's actually a really evolved way to love when you understand it. I set my laptop aside, took a breath. This is coming out of nowhere. Where's this from, Rachel? It's not from anywhere, she shot back defensively. This is who I've always been. I just didn't have the words for it. Her voice trembled, but not from fear, from certainty, from the kind of fervor people have when they think they've found a new religion. We've been together 3 years, I said slowly. You've never once mentioned anything like this. She crossed her arms. Because society conditions us to suppress these parts of ourselves. Monogamy is a patriarchal construct, Ethan. It limits human connection. I wanted to laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. So, 3 years of being together, building a future, and suddenly monogamy is a social prison. I asked. Her expression hardened. You're twisting my words. This isn't about rejecting you. It's about expanding love. No one person can meet all your needs. That's when the calm hit me, the strange, almost eerie calm that comes when you realize something is slipping away, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're right, I said, my voice steady. No one person can meet every need. That's what friends, family, community are for. But romantically, sexually are monogamous. That's not negotiable. She looked at me like I'd just confessed to a crime. So you won't even consider it? Rachel, knowing what I want isn't close-minded, I said quietly. It's self-awareness. But how do you know if you've never tried it? She pressed. You might love it. You can't say no to something you've never experienced. Then how do you know you're polyamorous if you've never practiced it? I asked. That stopped her for a second, but only a second. She started pacing, muttering something about resistance and internalized control. You're trying to dictate how I love, she said sharply. No, I said, standing now too. I'm saying what I need in a relationship. You can love however you want, but I get to decide whether that's a relationship I can be in. She threw her hands up. So you're just shutting this down? Won't even think about it? Think about what? You're asking me to change my entire relationship values. She grabbed her phone, scrolled for something. Look, I follow these polyamory educators on TikTok. They say that refusing to even consider ethical non-monogamy is a red flag. It means you don't care about your partner's happiness or growth. I stared at her. Or it means we're incompatible in a very fundamental way. Her eyes flashed. We're not incompatible, Ethan. We're perfect together. You just need to evolve. I felt my chest tighten. I don't think monogamy is outdated. It works for millions of people. It works for me. That's when her voice dropped, low but certain. I can't be monogamous anymore. I need this to be happy. I just nodded. My mouth was dry. Okay, she blinked, stunned by how calmly I said it. That's all you have to say. What do you want me to say, Rachel? You're telling me you need something I can't give. That sucks, but it is what it is. So you're choosing monogamy over me? No, I said softly. You're choosing polyamory over me. It's the same thing. Her lip trembled. I'm asking you to grow with me, and I'm asking you to love me as I am, I said. Not as some version that fits your new ideology. Her face hardened. If you actually loved me, you'd at least try. If you actually loved me, I said, voice cracking, you wouldn't ask me to. For a long moment, we just stared at each other, 3 years of memories sitting heavy between us, like smoke that wouldn't clear. Finally, she whispered, then I guess we're done. I'm not going to suppress who I am for anyone. I'm not asking you to, I said quietly. I'm just saying I can't live that way. She nodded once, eyes wet but resolute. Fine, then it's over. And just like that, it was. She went to the bedroom, came out 20 minutes later with an overnight bag. I'll stay at Whitney's tonight, she said flatly. We can figure out the apartment later. Sure, obviously, the wedding's off. I'll call my parents tomorrow, okay? She paused at the door, looked back. You know, this really shows who you are. I thought you were different, more evolved. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. When the door closed behind her, the silence that followed wasn't just quiet, was absolute, like someone had vacuumed all the air out of the room. I sat there, staring at the laptop. The apartment listings still open on the screen. All those plans for a future that no longer existed, and for the first time in years, I felt completely, devastatingly alone. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. I just sat there, watching the soft blue light from my laptop fade into the early grey of morning. Every few minutes, I caught myself glancing at the door like she might come back, like she'd realize. She'd made a mistake and rush in, saying, I didn't mean it, Ethan. Let's forget this ever happened. But she did the next day. I was still on that couch, still numb, when my phone buzzed. Rachel, hey, can we talk? I think we both got too emotional last night. For a moment, I almost laughed. Too emotional. She'd blown up our engagement, packed a bag, and walked out tall because she watched too many people on TikTok talking about ethical polyamory. Still, part of me wanted to understand. So I texted back, me, sure, what's up? Her reply came fast. Rachel, I don't think we need to break up. We just need better communication. Maybe we can compromise. I stared at those words until the screen dimmed. Compromise. It sounded like hope, but I knew it wasn't, single quotes it me. About what? You want polyamory, I want monogamy. That's not a communication issue. Rachel, maybe we can start slow. You'd know about my other partners, but wouldn't have to meet them right away. That message hit like a cold slap me. That's not a compromise. That's you being poly and me pretending I'm fine with it. Her response came in seconds. Rachel, you're being really unreasonable right now. Unreasonable. That word stayed with me the whole morning. Unreasonable for wanting the relationship we'd agreed on from the start. Unreasonable for not wanting to share the woman I'd planned to marry. At noon, she called. I didn't answer. Then she called again. I picked up on the third ring. Why are you avoiding me? She said, her voice sharp. I'm not avoiding you. I'm processing the fact that you ended our relationship last night. That's why we need to talk, she said quickly. I've been thinking, so have I interrupted. And I keep coming back to the same thing. We want completely different relationships. That's not something we can compromise on. Yes, we can, she snapped. If you'd just open your mind even a little. My mind's open, I said. Open to a monogamous relationship with someone who wants the same thing. Oh my God, Ethan, you're so brainwashed by Disney movies and romance novels. I almost laughed. And you're brainwashed by TikTok content creators. That's not fair, she shot back. Neither is asking me to change everything about who I am because you spent 6 weeks reading about polyamory. Silence. Then, Faintly, she said, "It wasn't just TikTok. I've been reading books, real research." "How long, Rachel?" Or silence. "How long have you been researching this?" She finally muttered, "About a month and a half." I couldn't help it, I actually laughed. 6 weeks. We've been together 3 years. And 6 weeks of online content suddenly redefines who you are. Stop mocking me. I'm not mocking you, I said quietly. I'm pointing out that this feels impulsive. Maybe you're just caught up in something new, not discovering your identity. You don't get to tell me who I am. You're right, I said. But I get to decide whether who you are is compatible with me. She hung up. A few seconds later, another message came in. "Rachel, I want my stuff from the apartment this weekend." Me, okay. Saturday works. Rachel, fine. Saturday came faster than I expected. She arrived with her best friend Whitney and her mum Diane, both armed with judgment and tote bags. I'd already packed her things, clothes, books, bathroom stuff, all neatly boxed in the living room. I wanted it to be simple, clean, quick. But of course, it WASN, single quotes, T. Diane walked in first, eyes full of disapproval. "I can't believe you're doing this to her." I exhaled. "Hi, Diane." "She came to you with her authentic self," she said, hands on hips. "She's trying to grow, and you're punishing her for it." "She told me she wants to date multiple people," I said calmly. "I told her I want monogamy. Those two things don't fit together. Marriage is about compromise," Diane snapped. "We're not married," I said. "And some things aren't compromisable." Whitney jumped in like she'd been waiting for her line. "Do you even know polyamorous couples have lower divorce rates? It's proven to be healthier." I gave a tight smile. "Cool. Then they should date each other." Rachel came in then, avoiding my eyes, scanning the boxes like she was checking inventory. "Is everything here?" "Everything I could find. If I missed something, let me know." Diane wasn't done. "You realize you're throwing away a beautiful relationship because you're too insecure to share." I felt something inside me snap. "I'm not insecure. I'm monogamous. There's a difference." "They're the same thing," she insisted. "No," I said evenly. "They're literally the opposite. Monogamy is about choice. I choose exclusivity. That's not fiancé's commitment." Rachel sighed. "Can we not do this here?" Whitney crossed her arms. "You're really throwing away a wedding over this." "She ended it," I said. "I just didn't beg her to stay." "Because you don't love her," Diane said flatly. I looked at Rachel. "Is that what you think?" She bit her lip, then whispered, "I think if you loved me enough, you'd at least try." I felt my throat tighten. "And I think if you loved me enough, you wouldn't ask me to." Diane scoffed. "Selfish? Absolutely selfish." They packed the car in 3 silent trips. Every time they walked past, I felt more like a stranger in my own home. When they were finally done, Rachel stood at the doorway, holding her keys. "You're really okay with this? Just throwing away 3 years?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm not okay with it. But I'm also not going to pretend to be someone I'm not, just to keep the peace." "So polyamory would make you miserable?" she asked softly. "Yes. Would monogamy make you miserable?" I asked back. She hesitated. I don't think I can do it anymore. Not after learning what I've learned." "Then yeah," I said. "We're done." She nodded, turned, and walked out. When the door closed this time, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat down on the couch and stared at the space she'd left behind an hour later. My phone buzzed. "Whitney, you're going to regret this so bad. She's amazing and you're too stupid to see it." Blocked. Then another text. "Rachel, just so you know, I already have 2 people who want to date me." I stared at it for a while before typing back. "Me, good luck with everything." "Rachel, that's all you have to say." "Me, what? Do you want me to say, you want me to fight for us by becoming someone I'm not? That's not fighting. That's erasing myself." No reply. The silence that followed was worse than any fight we'd ever had. It wasn't angry, it was final. Over the next few days, the fallout began. The wedding venue called first. Non-refundable deposit, $3,000 gone. The photographer followed. $800 lost. The caterer at least gave us half back. But it still stung. I texted her. We need to split the costs. We both signed those contracts. Rachel, why should I pay? You're the one who wouldn't compromise. You're the one who ended it. You gave me an ultimatum, she called. You could have just tried it. Tried something I fundamentally don't want. That's not reasonable, Rachel. So, I'm supposed to pay thousands because you're close-minded? No, I said evenly. Because we both made commitments. That's how it works. This is exactly why we broke up, she hissed. You care more about money than love. My feelings are hurt too, I said. But that doesn't make the vendors go away. Figure it out yourself. Click. She hung up. A few days later, my mum called. Hi honey, I heard about the breakup. Are you okay? I'm trying, I said. Diane called me. She sighed. Said you were controlling, that you wouldn't let Rachel live authentically. I groaned. Of course she did. I told her, Mum said firmly, if Rachel wanted to date multiple people, she should have figured that out before accepting a ring. For the first time in days, I smiled. Thanks, Mum, sweetheart. She said gently, you're allowed to be sad and relieved at the same time. You probably dodged something that would have hurt a lot worse later. And she was right. I knew she was right, but knowing didn't make it hurt any less. That night, as I threw away our unused wedding invitation samples, I realized I wasn't just losing Rachel. I was losing the version of myself that believed love was simple, safe, and shared by two. It's been 8 weeks since Rachel left. 8 weeks since she walked out of our apartment with that tote bag full of her new self, leaving me with a bed that still smelled like her shampoo, and a dozen unanswered questions. For the first 3 weeks, I barely left the house. I went to work, came home, scrolled through old photos, then deleted them, then undeleted them. I told myself I was moving on, but truthfully, I was waiting for her to text, waiting for her to regret it, and she did, just not the way I hoped. It started one random Thursday evening. I was half watching a movie when my phone buzzed. Rachel, hey, can we talk? I stared at the message for a long time. 2 words. Harmless, but my chest tightened instantly. Part of me still wanted to believe this was her realizing. She'd made a mistake. Sure, what's up? She called immediately. I let it ring twice, then picked up. Hey, she said, her voice quieter than I remembered. You sound tired. Just a long day. I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I didn't say anything. She took a shaky breath. I know things ended badly, but I miss you, Ethan. I closed my eyes. There it is, Rachel, I said slowly. Are you still seeing other people? She hesitated. Kind of. But it's different now. How so? Well, Trevor and I have been together for a few weeks, but it's not what I thought it'd be. There it was, again, that same impulsive tone, like she'd jumped into another world before checking if the floor was solid. What happened? I asked carefully. She exhaled, frustrated. He's poly too, obviously, but it's so messy. I thought it would be freeing, you know? Everyone honest and open and connected. But it's exhausting, and I keep thinking about you. I stayed quiet, letting her words hang. I didn't realize how good we had it, she said softly. You made me feel safe, like I could stop searching. Then why did you? Because I thought I'd outgrown it, she whispered. Everyone online made it sound like I was missing something by being with one person. But I think I just wanted to feel special again, desired. That one hurt, because I did desire her, every day. I just didn't shout it from rooftops. Rachel, I said finally, I loved you. Still kind of do. But the second you told me I wasn't enough, something broke. I didn't mean it like that. Maybe not, I said, but that's how it felt. Do you think we could ever know? I interrupted gently. I don't think we could go back, but we could start new. She asked, hopeful. With you still seeing Trevor? No, I'd end it. If that's what it takes. Don't end it for me, Rachel. End it because that's what you want. She went silent. Then quietly, I don't know what I want anymore. I think that's the first honest thing you've said in months. She let out a half laugh, half sob. God, you always know how to cut right to the truth. It's a curse, I said softly. We talked for another half hour, nothing romantic. Just two tired people trying to make sense of what they'd destroyed. When the call ended, I felt strangely lighter. 3 days later, I ran into her. Pure accident. I was at a cafe downtown, waiting for a coworker. When I heard that unmistakable laugh, she was there with Trevor. He looked exactly how I expected, tall, artsy, thrift store jacket, too many rings. The kind of guy who talks about energies but forgets to pay rent. Rachel saw me first. Her smile froze mid-sentence. I nodded politely. Hey, Trevor turned, then smirked. Oh, this must be the famous ex. Rachel winced. Trevor, don't. What? He's chill, right? You said he was understanding. I stood up. We're done here. Relax, man, Trevor said, leaning back. We're all adults. You don't have to act threatened. I'm not threatened, I said calmly. I'm just not interested in small talk with the guy who replaced me. Rachel whispered. Ethan, please. But I was already heading for the door. Behind me, Trevor's voice echoed, smug and lazy. See, this is exactly why monogamy's dying. I stopped for half a second, turned slightly, and said without raising my voice, yeah, because people confuse commitment with control and self-discovery with selfishness. Then I walked out. That night, Rachel texted, Rachel, I'm sorry about earlier. That was awful. Me, not your fault. I shouldn't have stayed. Rachel, he was being an ass. I told him off after you left. Me, good. You deserve better. Rachel, do you mean that? Me, yeah. Even if it's not me. There was a long pause before she replied. Rachel, I miss what we had. But I think I have to figure out who I am before I ruin anyone else. Me, that's fair. Just don't find yourself at someone else's expense this time. Rachel, I won't. And for once, I believed her. Months passed. I focused on work, friends, therapy. I stopped checking her socials. I even went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just testing the waters. One evening, I found an old note she'd left in a drawer months before the breakup. You make love feel like a home I never have to leave. I smiled, folded it, and tucked it into a book knot to hold on to her. But to remember the good before everything fell apart. Because despite everything, the betrayal, the confusion, the heartbreak, I wasn't angry anymore. I just hoped she found peace in whatever version of love she chose, and me. I'd stopped searching, because I finally understood something I'd forgotten in the chaos. Love doesn't need to be trendy to be true. Sometimes, it just needs to be real.